Going to the Moon. It was July 16th, 1969 in Cape Kennedy, Florida. Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Buzz Aldrin Jr. ate a big dinner of meat and vegetables. After dinner, they talked to doctors, people from the newspapers, and their families. When they woke up the next morning, the three men ate a big breakfast and studied weather maps. They were tired, but they had work to do. The three men walked to a small blue room. New clothes were waiting for them in the room. When the men walked outside, they were wearing white spacesuits with gloves and shoes. Their spacesuits were heavy, but they would need them because on the moon it is very hot in the day and very cold at night. It was a sunny morning in Florida. The Apollo 11 spaceship was in front of the three men. The spaceship was big and tall, and it had one small window. Inside the spaceship, there were 3 seats, a computer, and a radio. Armstrong, Collins, and Aldrin waited outside the spaceship. Today, they were going to the moon for 8 days and nights. They'd study the sky and the sun in the sky, and they walked inside the Apollo 11. A man standing outside the spaceship closed the door. 6 miles away from Cape Kennedy, many people were waiting on a beach for the Apollo 11 to go to the moon. Some of the people had telescopes, some had cameras, and some had binoculars, but all of them were watching the sky. The Apollo 11 departed at 9:32 a.m., and in less than 12 minutes, it was far from the Earth. Inside the spaceship, the three men watched the Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The Earth was now a small blue and white ball in a black sky, and the moon was getting bigger and bigger. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon after him. It was a big first in history for the United States and for all people on Earth. Parents at school.
Today is Monday, and Maria and Rob are going to school. But they aren't walking. They aren't taking the school bus. They aren't driving in a taxi. Maria and Rob are going to school in a black and white police car. When they arrive at school in the police car, the other children are surprised. Why are Maria and Rob in the police car? What did they do? Were they bad? Maria and Rob get out of the car. The police officer gets out, too. "Oh, it's Maria's mother," says one of the students. Yes, the police officer driving the car is Maria's mother. She's at the school to speak to the students about what police officers do, and Maria and Rob are in the police car with her. Today is a day for students to listen to adults speak about their work. Maria's mother speaks to many students inside the school library. "I used to be a student at this elementary school, but now I'm a police officer," she says. "Do you like being a police officer?" asks a girl. "Yes, I do. I get to drive in the city in my car, and I get to do good things for people. Yesterday, I was driving near the shopping mall when a man ran out of the jewelry store. He was wearing a black sweater and a black hat. He had a backpack. A woman ran out of the store behind him. "Stop, thief," she said. He ran fast. He ran into the park. "What did you do?" asks a teacher. "I had to get out of my car. I ran after him. He was in front of me, but I ran faster than him. He ran behind the trees, but I stopped him. He didn't like it." "What did you do next?" asks a boy. "I gave the bag of jewelry back to the woman at the jewelry store. She was happy." "Thank you, Officer Casey. Who would like to speak next?" After Maria's mother, many other adults speak. One woman is a store manager. 5 people work at a factory. Many employees work with computers. One man works at the City Science and History Museum. After the adults speak, one of the teachers asks the students to write. Write about what you would like to do when you are older, he says. The students write on their laptops. Are you going to be a police officer? Rob asks Maria. No, Maria says. I like that my mom is a police officer, but I want to work with animals. There are dogs who work with police officers, says Rob. Says Maria. The Faces in the Mountains. Isaac and Wendy are in South Dakota. South Dakota has many gray mountains and miles of green grass. Yesterday, they swam at the hotel and played soccer in the grass. It was nice. But today, it's raining and cloudy, and they're in their hotel room. Wendy is on the bed, writing a letter to her friend Sue in New York. Isaac is watching television. Wendy is writing and writing. Wendy has a compass with her on the bed. It's made of metal. Sue gave her the compass before Wendy and Isaac left New York. After 10 minutes, Wendy stops writing. She's on the bed. Her face is in her pillow. Why are you sad? Isaac asks. Because I miss home, and I miss my friends, Wendy says. Why don't you watch television with me? Isaac asks. I don't want to watch television. Why don't you listen to music? That doesn't sound good either. Wendy's hands are on her face. Isaac is standing near the bed. The television is off. We're near Mount Rushmore. We can go walking in the woods. That would be nice. But it's raining, Wendy says. We have an umbrella. Why don't we go outside of this hotel room and have some fun? They're driving to Mount Rushmore. It's in a big park, but there are not many people visiting the park because of the rain. They are walking in the woods. Isaac has the umbrella, but their clothes are getting wet. Wendy wants 2 umbrellas. She is sad. They're walking on a trail. They're tired, but they're walking and walking. Far off on the mountain, they see the gray face of George Washington. There are 4 faces in the gray mountains. They are all presidents of the United States. The faces are big and gray. Wendy and Isaac are watching the faces in the rain. Isaac is smiling, but Wendy is not smiling. Look, Wendy, the presidents on Mount Rushmore are sad too. Their faces are all wet from crying. But Wendy doesn't smile at Isaac. I'm tired, she says. I want to go to the hotel room. They're walking to the car. They are walking in the woods. It is raining and raining. Their clothes are wet. Their shoes are wet. And they aren't on the trail. They turn right. They turn left. Where is the trail? Oh no, Isaac says. We are off the trail. How can we get to the car? I have my compass with me, Wendy says. She watches the compass. She reads a map of the park, and she watches the sky. We need to turn left. Now the trail is straight ahead. They walk and walk. The trail, Isaac says. Good work, Wendy. You can thank Sue for giving me this compass. Wendy is smiling now. She's not sad. They are walking to the car. They are driving to the hotel. It is raining and raining, but Wendy is smiling. A letter to Mateo's grandparents. Hello, Grandma and Grandpa. How are you? Mother and Father and Celia and Rosario all give their love. All is good with me. This year I'm in high school. This is my 2nd month at my new school, and I love it. I'm studying math, science, art, and history. And the music teacher is teaching me to read music. But what I love most of all is robotics team. We meet on Thursdays after school. I have some new friends from the robotics team. One of them is Vlad. He's from the Ukraine. We laugh about many things. My second friend is Kendra, and she's very smart. We like to build robots. She and I made a speaking robot for a robotics fair last Saturday. It can teach children different English words in Chinese and Russian. Our robot was one of the robots the teachers liked most. We didn't get the blue ribbon for first place, but we did get the white one for third. I like being friends with Kendra. She likes many of the same things that I do. We had a good time last night. We went to a costume party on Kendra's street. Kendra was a Chinese warrior. Her costume was blue with a blue belt. And she helped me with my robot costume. We made it from some things we had at home and some things we bought at the hardware store. When I was wearing it, I looked like a real robot. At the party, some people didn't know there was a person, me, inside the costume. Many people ask if Kendra is my girlfriend, but I tell them we are not more than good friends. I don't have time for a girlfriend because of all my schoolwork and the work I do at the hotel. That is all that is new with me. I miss you very much. With much love, Mateo. Mother watches Mateo sitting on his bed, writing on his laptop. "What are you writing, Mateo?" she asks. "I'm writing to Grandma and Grandpa." "Oh, that's nice. When I was young, we wrote letters on paper and had to mail them in envelopes with stamps. Now you can write faster with email." Mateo says, "I'm going to put this email on letter paper and mail it, like you did in the old days. I want Grandma and Grandpa to have this photo of Kendra and me in our costumes." "But you can put the photo in email, can't you?" "Yes, but I also want them to have the third place ribbon we got from the robotics fair. I can't do that with email." "You're a good boy, Mateo," Mother says with a smile. "I'm going to look for stamps and an envelope for you." "Thank you, Mom."
The man who drives the taxi. Victor drives a taxi. It's his work. He works from 6 in the morning to 7 or 8 in the evening. Some days, he goes home after 1 or 2 in the morning and is tired. But he likes to drive his taxi and to meet his passengers, the people who take his taxi. In his taxi, Victor listens to the radio, and when it is hot outside, he opens the windows of his car and listens to the city. He likes to listen to his passengers when he is driving them. Some of them are from different countries and cities. Last week, Victor drove a man to a school because his son was in a play. The man gave him more money to drive the taxi faster. On Monday, he drove a woman to the airport, where she hugged an old friend from college. And this morning, he drove a woman and her husband to the hospital because the woman was going to have a baby. He spoke to them about the day when he and his wife, Julia, also took the taxi to the hospital. Now it's 7 in the evening and he is going home, where his wife and 2 sons are waiting to eat with him. They sit at the table and speak about their day. Victor and the people he drove in his taxi, his wife and her day at the office, and his sons and their day at school. Victor likes his taxi, but the hours with his family are the times he likes most.
The oldest treasure of the city. Nancy and Ann are in a bookstore on Pine Street. They're reading books and newspapers. Some are new, some are old. After an hour, Ann says to Nancy, "Nancy, there's an envelope in this old book." "What's in it?" says Nancy. "It's an old map and a letter." "Read the letter." Ann reads, "Friend, you have before you the map to the oldest treasure of the city. Walk from the old library to Patterson Park. Turn right at the park and walk to the third house. Turn right on the small street next to the wooden house. Go straight and turn right on Elm Street. When you arrive at the small bridge, turn left on Orange Street. The treasure is in the 4th house on the right. Good day, John Bertrand." "Nancy," says Ann, "it's a treasure map." "Yes, now we can have a lot of money and jewelry," says Nancy. The 2 girls buy the old book and, in the book, the letter and the map. They go to the old library and walk to Patterson Park. It's a big park with a lake and trees. They turn right and walk. 1 house, 2, says Anne. They arrive at the 3rd house. It's the wooden house. They turn right on the small street next to the house and walk straight. They turn right on Elm Street and go to the bridge. We're near the treasure, says Anne. The 2 girls turn left and run to Orange Street. They turn left and count the houses. 1, 2, 3, 4. The treasure is in this house, Anne says. Their faces are red and they're tired, but they want that treasure. The 2 girls are in front of a small old gray house. On the door, they read, "Welcome." After a minute, they go inside the house. The house is old and dirty. In the living room, there is a fireplace, a chair, and a candle on a table. There's an old chair, but no treasure, says Nancy. After running, says Anne, this old chair is a treasure. Anne sits on the chair, and a door in the fireplace opens. There's a door in the fireplace, says Nancy, and behind the door there are stairs. The girls take the candle and walk down the stairs. They arrive in a small room, and on a door they read, Raven Theater, 1830. They open the door, and in front of them is a big wooden stage with old red curtains and chairs. It's a theater, Anne says. The treasure is a theater under the city. There's a letter on the stage, says Nancy. She reads, Friend, you are in my treasure. Good work. My treasure is now your treasure. A big thank you. John Bertrand. After 8 months, Anne and Nancy are sitting in the Raven Theater. 64 people are sitting in the theater with them. They are watching the play All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare. The city loves its oldest treasure.